Hello and welcome to the Bad Pipes podcast. I'm your host, Scott Kelly, and with me today,
a wise tree named Andrew Weaver.
and another wise tree named Tom.
Oh, I'm a tree now.
Right. He's here.
I'll take it.
He was gone last week, but this week he is here.
I've resprouted. More of a fungus.
The allegations of him being asleep this week have been proven false.
Yes. Not nearly as tired as last week.
All right, so we're going to run through the news real quick. Then we're going to talk about, we're going to revisit Barbie a little bit. And we're going to talk about Twisted Metal and then Waterworld. And
Conan
to
the
wrap
Barbarian.
it up, Conan the Barbarian. The 82 film featuring Arnold, the Schwarzenegger.
And James Earl Jones.
He's a big part of it too, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That guy's in it.
Dude, I love the cast of that movie. Well, I mean, we'll get there eventually, but all right. So first up, in the news, Wizards of the Coast has found a little bit of a controversy because in their upcoming, or maybe it's out already, I don't know. Big B Presents Glory of the Giants sourcebook. They used AI generated art.
Dun, 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 dun.
That was the controversy to begin with because the art for a certain couple things was very odd. And then the artists themselves that worked on it came out and was like, no, it's not AI generated. It's like AI polished, basically. So only certain details have been touched by AI. How do y'all feel about that?
We threw it in an AI Adobe Premiere and it touched us up a little bit.
God, dude.
Yeah.
The memes for
That's
the AI
weird.
Adobe are funny.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be honest. I think it's foreshadowing what's to come, right? Which is like we're gonna get rid of all the artists and only pay one guy to do the art, and he's gonna do it all with AI. You know?
yeah, I don't think this is what we dreamed of. I thought the robots were supposed to do all the work and we were supposed to do all the art, but you know.
Dude, I
It's
say
no big
that
deal.
every time we talk about AI, I'm like, this isn't iRobot. iRobot told me the middle management guys were gonna get taken out.
Yeah, the artist apparently tweeted out and was saying, yeah, the AI was used in the process to generate certain details or polish and editing. To shine some light on the process, I'm attaching earlier versions of the illustrations before AI had been applied to enhance details. So they had like a bunch of examples of the illustrations.
Yeah, it's like it's a partially finished. The initial one is like a partially finished depiction of the final product, and you can see where AI has like done some of the like fading and added layers to certain aspects. But honestly, I like the initial one more. I just wish that like someone had finished it by hand, so it would have looked like more.
Yeah.
I wish someone would have spent an extra 12 hours on it and made it look good. But instead we had an AI do it in 5 seconds.
You're working for one of the largest like toy and...
No, yeah, absolutely.
You're working for one of the largest toy companies in the world. Like Hasbro is like a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah. It's actually funny. The one I'm looking at, I'm like, honestly, I like, which is funny because AI is not normally good at this, but I like the hand on the AI detailed artwork better. It looks better.
Yeah, there were certain aspects of like the musculature that it like blended better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what? Someone pumped a bunch of aesthetic fucking statue of Davids into it. It knows what a good looking guy looks like. Big whoop. What are you gonna do about it?
So I don't really have much else to say about that unless you guys do.
No.
Just disappointed really.
I don't. But we can move into more stuff that they can go ahead and use AI generated art on, which is their upcoming schedule for 2024 for Magic the Gathering.
Hold on, before that. I also, a video was brought to my attention by Dungeon Craft on YouTube. Have you seen that guy?
Nope.
He's just like an old school D&D tabletop role-playing kind of guy. And he's got like walkthroughs for how to play like most tabletop systems. Like the dude is old school, you know, like he's got it all down.
Yeah.
But he made a video recently talking about the Wizards of the Coast book sales, right? because like player handbooks, if you look between like, when did 5th edition come out? Like 2015, 2016?
Yeah, it's fucking been a minute.
So like since it came out, it's sold like 1.5 million player handbooks or something like that. But then you look at source books and adventure things, and like something like Strahd will have sold like 87,000 copies, right?
The game sells itself.
But everything that's coming out now is only getting up to about 20 to 25,000 copies sold, partially because of the previous controversies, the open gaming license stuff, things like that. And he said, to put this into perspective, these source books are literally being outsold by the D&D cookbook, which to date has sold more than 200,000 copies.
Jeez.
So the D&D cookbook is outselling their modern source books by a factor of 10.
The brand is more important than what it actually is.
Yeah.
So
no one actually wants to play D&D. They just want to make muffins that have little dragons on them.
yeah, no one dice
Religious.
bags and have 10 sets of dice and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's become very vain. It's all about vanity. It's all about can I buy the nicest fucking lasered wooden box for my dice, my like fucking custom resin polyhedral dice to put in that wormwood box.
Oh man. And let me guess, the numbers aren't even in like Roman numeric. Oh god, what are they? Oh, what are your numbers? How do you know what you rolled? Tell me.
The dice, it's actually just a sphere and it's hollowed out and it just like it has a little spinny thing and some like glitter goo inside and it. You know.
Oh, it's like a magic 8-ball, but it's a dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
all right, roll to attack. Looks like I got a natural XX, buddy.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
God.
All right, let's
First time
talk
I got
about
a
Magic the
Paradise,
Gathering.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to talk about more shit that is all about the brand and no one fucking actually wants to play, is Magic the Gathering, because I saw this schedule for 2024 and I immediately went, yeah, I'm just since I've moved, I've been kind of done with Magic because I don't have a play group here like I did back home. But yeah, seeing this makes me even more just want to be like, yeah, fuck this game.
Which is weird because you're in the Midwest, which is the gaming capital of the USA.
There are a fuck ton of
there's groups. I just don't want to go.
Yeah, there's local game stores all over, and there's like groups, and I even joined like a Kansas City like play group or like Magic the Gathering group where like people talk about like getting together and playing, but I'm just kind of like, I
don't want to know about your Facebook groups, you nerd.
Yeah, I don't have time for it right now. But yeah, so like this schedule, first of all, so they have like they have one remastered set. They're doing Ravnica remastered, which I'm totally fine with. That's the only one that I'm kind of like, oh, that actually.
I just don't care for the remastered sets.
Yeah, I just I've always liked Ravnica. That was one of the first. That was a pretty early set.
I was literally about to say I'm not playing Magic until Ravnica comes back.
Yeah. Well, and like some of these newer remaster sets I don't mind because they're basically like taking like a beloved plane and they're taking like Ravnica has 3 separate blocks or sets or whatever. And they're going to take cards, like beloved cards from all 3 of those and combine into this one remastered set, which is kind of cool. Based on the price point. If it's priced reasonably, then it's cool. Otherwise, yeah, fuck that shit. Modern Horizons 3 we're getting at some point, like end of Q2. That's whatever. That's going to be an expensive fucking... Then we have like 4 new planes that they're introducing, which all sound fucking... One of them is called Murders at Karlov Manor. So it's giving me like some weird fucking murder mystery vibes, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Murders
One of them is called
Karlov Manor.
Murders at Karlov Manor.
Karlov has such a vampiric undertone to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know how that's gonna go. Then we have Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which looks like a fucking like Red Dead Redemption ass. Like we're getting like cowboys in trains. I don't know what we're doing with that. Then we have
this cover art looks amazing. You kidding me?
Yeah,
Twisted Fate with the Balrog, Medusa, a goblin, and 3 other desperados. Not a bad group. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hold on. What was the title of it again?
Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Straight up out of a goddamn theme park. That is a theme park ride.
What was the name of the Disney like train ride?
Was it Thunder Road or whatever?
It was like Thunder Mountain, wasn't it?
Thunder Mountain. It was Thunder Mountain.
Bruce Springsteen album.
Yeah, Thunder Mountain. It's Thunder Mountain. So yeah, this sounds like a play on some fucking.
We are in.
Shit.
Fuck! There better be like a special land card called something Quarry, Blank Saloon.
Yeah.
It's all gotta be there. It's all gotta be there. Else it's missed.
Here's the set details from mtgfandom.com. Outlaws of Thunder Junction is the long-awaited top-down design set based on Wild West tropes. It is a frontier fantasy where outlaws come to seize their futures. Make a fortune doing it.
No, we've devolved so far from what Magic should be.
Outlaws of Thunder Junction only decks. I'm only playing in Thunder Junction tournaments only. We're role playing. We're all fucking partners. We take care of our decks before we take care of ourselves. They're our steeds.
We'll see how it goes. But then we have Bloomburrow, and Duskmourn. I don't give a fuck about. I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know what those are. But then my main point of here is we have some more expanded. What are they? Universes Beyond. We're getting a Fallout set at the end of Q1, and we're getting an Assassin's Creed set at the beginning of Q3.
You've all earned them. You're very welcome.
Hold on.
Who doesn't love mashups? And
I actually have a Discord sound for Outlaws of Thunder Junction. This actually comes from us playing Hunt Showdown.
Oh man! Every time you top deck something now, playing Magic the Gathering Arena, just partner. Hell yeah!
MTG trying to capitalize on Hunt Showdown popularity.
God,
I don't know. Like this is all over the place. Like I don't know what kind of connect the dot art they're trying to do here, but you have, I mean, Ravnica Remastered, an oldie but a goodie, can never fail, right?
We're also getting Ravnica Clue Edition. We're getting a Clue, like the board game Clue, but Ravnica.
I was literally going to say Knives Out as well comes with it for some reason. so it's if Ravnica and fucking Ryan Johnson had a baby, wow, I'd like to see that. Yeah, come on, guys.
My mouth.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, somehow Ryan Johnson got his hands on Ravnica Remastered and is like the director of the cards.
Yeah,
he's pulling the trigger on what's getting printed or not, and he is subverting a lot.
This depravity.
I'm not allowed to just say shit.
That's our connect the dots. They got Ryan Johnson. That's why they're pulling some Disney shit here with Thunder Junction.
Listen, I'm trying to make a boat out of these dots they're giving me.
Yeah.
And then Cowboys. It's gonna be amazing.
Magic has just devolved into I don't know.
Well, they did Cyberpunk earlier this year with the Kamigawa.
Okay, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty was a great set. There are some banger cards in there. Actually, some really good playable cards.
Well, I
enjoyed
just
that
don't know,
set.
who nowadays gets excited about westerns or that kind of stuff. I know I do, but that's because I'm a big fan of the old Dollars trilogy and Clint Eastwood in general. You know.
Here's the thing: it doesn't matter what the fuck it is. It's Magic the Gathering, so people are gonna buy that shit up. They're gonna take out a second mortgage on their house to afford buying 5 fucking collector's boosters of
There's gonna be one ultra rare with $25, one rare worth $50 for the first 2 weeks, and I'm gonna be all in, baby.
This was like me talking when Andrew and I did
one box comes with the $1 million railroad spike. One of one railroad spike.
Oh my god! I can't believe I got one of these cowboys' names is going to be like
Did,
I don't know, Alan's caboose, an
legendary
artifact card.
creature, horse, hi-ho silver.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. Literally, trusty steed. It's like a 3/3 uncommon, but it's worth like $15. And you're like, whoa, gotta get a set of
The
those.
only fucking artifact creature you ever pull is just gonna be like mechanical horse.
Yeah.
It's a vehicle, by the way.
Shit, they can still be on brand. I hope they put the DeLorean in there.
Did you guys hear about Post Malone buying the One Ring?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I heard about
2.3 million or something. 2.6.
Dude,
Yeah,
I can't even
people
look
are saying
at Post
2.6
Malone anymore.
I figured it was for taxes. I figured the guy looked at him and said, "I'm getting $2 million." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Whatever happens, that check needs to be the exact amount to where I have $2 million.
Yeah.
You aren't cheating me out of."
Dude, Post
Out of my
Malone
money.
just looks
My money.
like a grizzled old man now. I don't know what happened to him.
So he spent $2.6 million on a piece of card.
Yeah, he got like really clean and sober. Like he's not
that's
drinking.
it.
He's not drinking as much. So he's just gotten like real skinny because he stopped drinking Bud Light all the time like he fucking used to.
What the fuck, dude? He doesn't support Bud Light?
It's not that. I mean, he stopped drinking Bud Light well before the whole Bud Light controversy. He was just trying to be a little bit healthier. So like
You heard it here first, guys, on the Bad Pipes podcast. Post Malone doesn't support trans people.
I'm sure that
Apparently.
I'm sure that we're not the first to say that.
Yeah,
I don't
sure it's
think
not
I don't
true.
think this is hearing it first.
don't put words in our mouths.
I don't believe that he doesn't. Oh my god, how do I say that without a? I do believe that
Redacted.
he does support trans rights.
Yeah. No, he I feel like he does. He seems like a pretty decent guy. Yeah. People were like going off on the internet, being like, "Oh yeah, he's like, I'm worried about him. He seems like he's like a hard addicted to fucking some shit." And it's like, nah, I think the dude just got skinny because he stopped drinking beer. Like.
He's like, it turns out when I don't drink, I'm like negative 600 caloric deficits, and it just sheds off.
Yeah, I'm like, with how much he's performing and shit, and like going all over the place.
Turns out you can't put back a lot of water weight if you just kind of
Alright,
stop
I think we're
drinking a
done
bunch
here
of water.
with Magic the Gathering. We want to move on?
Yeah.
Alright, so I got an article here under our articles tab. It's from Newsweek. An article by Jamie Burton titled "How Men Are Watching Barbie Wrong." So basically, this article just goes through and talks about how rather than viewing the film as the like uplifting feminist manifesto that Greta Gerwig made it as, certain men saw an entirely different film. This is a direct quote from the article. Some accusing it of sexism and others heralding it as a pro-patriarchy awakening. Isn't it funny? Whenever we talked about this, isn't that almost what I said? Is that like it almost comes across as a pro-patriarchy kind of thing?
I think I remember that being said.
Yeah.
Break out the logs.
All right, so then in this article, there's a freaking Twitter thread, or sorry, I don't mean a dead name Twitter, an X thread.
You dirty.
Basically, where they're using this guy's Twitter thread in the article as a as like proof of this concept of men watching the Barbie movie wrong. All right. And it uses a couple terms that I had to look up because I'd never heard them before. And when I looked them up, some people were like, these are dog whistling terms from the alt-right. So I really don't know. The only big one is longhouse. Have you guys heard this term?
I have not.
Okay, so a loose definition of it would be the longhouse is a matriarchal society lacking in privacy, personal liberty, wherein women enforce their social power to police men, right? So it's like the reverse of the concept of a patriarchy. Yeah. Yeah,
Big sister's always listening? Not watching, but listening?
So, like, I just want to read through a little bit of this thread, and if you guys want to make comments, we can, like, stop and talk. but it's from a guy on X named 6IEGE, so like Siege.
I'm behind it.
And here we go.
That's
The most interesting thing about the Barbie movie is Ken's bloodless revolt against the Longhouse. You are Ryan Gosling. Gosling is Ken. Ken is Prometheus, and perhaps you are too. Let's take a look at the parallels between Ken's world and ours. Ken is you. He's an exaggerated Western man in the 21st century. Anxious, confused, chasing women who don't care about him. He exits the Longhouse and discovers his own will to power. Like you, he decides to bring this knowledge back to his fellow man. Listen to me. This is Ryan Gosling here. He's been the most celebrated avatar of outcast men in our society for years. He's the exaggerated antagonist turned hero.
That's awesome. What a mindset. I can't. I wish I
keeps
could
going, dude.
I wish I could think like that.
If you haven't seen it, Gosling finds himself portraying Ken, a doll designed to vie for Barbie's love and affection for eternity. An all-too-modern bugman in a gynocentric world. Have you heard this term bugman? This is the other term.
I haven't heard that one either.
Is that supposed to be like a metamorphosis reference or something?
Have you heard the I will not live in the pod, I will not eat the bugs, or whatever?
No.
Yeah.
That kind of like meme talk. So a bugman is someone who does eat the bugs.
Oh, so like a bootlicker, but
No, it's like
flip-flopped?
in the future we'll all live in pods in this perfectly egalitarian world wherein our places are assigned to us by a benevolent overlord or whatever.
Yeah, so just like someone going with the status quo.
Yes, but more,
Blinders on, a little more insulting, like sheep,
it's more so
calling you a sheep.
like within the realm
sheep.
of like the Andrew Tate realm, right? It's like
I still don't even know who the fuck that guy is.
he's a fucking goofball. We don't have to get into it.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, he has come and gone. I mean, he's still kind of around, but I still have no fucking clue. Anyway,
Yeah.
we digress.
But so there's like this idea of like Sigma male, right? Which is like
Oh,
a
yeah.
man who has like self-actualized and become something and given himself value, right? Is kind of like what they talk about.
One of my favorites.
And like
Best.
the inverse of that is this like man with no value who just does what he's told, right? And that's a bug man.
Yeah.
It's the terms make me laugh more than anything else, knowing that like people actually believe in this shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so an all-too-modern bugman in a gynocentric world. Except he's not alone. Gosling is surrounded by other Kens, all of which have the same sole goal, get Barbie's attention. Like crabs in a bucket, the Kens are constantly pulling each other down in an effort to impress her, an all-too-familiar sight. Like the Longhouse, Barbie Land is filled with houses with no walls and no concept of privacy. Sexual activity is limited in the real-life Longhouse for these reasons, but it's made impossible in Barbie Land because as dolls, they have no genitals or any concept of sex.
Damn.
Ken starts off as the feminist ideal man, a totally subservient man with a desire for Barbie that is not even sexual. It's just programming. He does not know why he wants to sleep over. He just knows it's something he should want. So, I think I've read enough of the thread, but
Finish the manifesto. I mean, it is. It really looks like this guy's having an awakening, but it's like waking up in a dream and in another. I mean, this guy's just inceptioning himself, really.
yeah, it's
He's
like
broken one wall just to look at another completely incorrect wall.
woke up from the dream in another dream. Absolutely.
He broke out the south wall, and they're like, "Dude, we need to go north." Fuck. Well, I'm just gonna keep going south, then.
Yeah.
I'll get there eventually.
And like the article gets into this, and it brings up as well like toxic feminism has risen to the top, and I think whenever they get to that, they start talking about like Piers Morgan and Ben Shapiro, who were both like, "I can't watch this movie without feeling gay" or whatever nonsense.
I mean, I overheard a conversation at the office yesterday or the day before, where some dude was talking to another guy about the Barbie movie, and I heard him refer to it as Maoist propaganda.
Fuck yeah! We're going down to Tiananmen Square. Holy shit!
I just like I heard him say that. I literally had to turn around and be like, "Wait, did I hear that right? Like, did he really just call Barbie Maoist propaganda?" It was wild.
I just
If
think
we don't stand up now, our liberties are going to be taken from us.
I just think it's a movie that, like,
Yeah,
in its effort to support its theme, ended up like subverting its theme unintentionally. Yeah. Like, and I think that is an issue with the director there.
Yeah,
possibly the writer as well.
Yeah, it did. It did.
I mean, the fact that people are interpreting it like this dude has.
Yeah, the problem is just how magnified it got, and how quickly it happened. People were quick to just bring out let's peel back the layers of who the fuck knows if they literally sat down and said, we're making a movie.
Yeah. That's why I think it is really funny, because it's just like the majority of the vocalization you hear on the movie, like the majority of people talking about it are like these like right-wing commentators or something, like really getting into it and like doing that, like just peeling back the layers, or like trying to find more meaning into it. And then I feel like a lot of the people who have just like a lot of people who are like who have enjoyed the movie or like it are just like, yeah, it was a movie. It was a good movie.
Well,
like
you can't have like a normal opinion like that. What are you crazy?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting
on one side of the seesaw, you asshole.
You can get into the conversation of like artist's intent versus audience reception, right?
Yeah.
Something that first brought this concept to my attention was there's a pretty famous story about Ray Bradbury giving a talk about Fahrenheit 451, where in his lecture he was essentially saying that the book is about the dangers of television, and a kid in the audience was like, respectfully, sir, you're completely wrong. It's about censorship. And they argued for it a bit, and Bradbury came out of it like kind of frustrated and angry. But then like the more he thought about it, the more he was like, damn, that kid was right. So yeah, it's an interesting exploration, I guess, of that concept, just like the conversations taking place around the movie, where you do have people reading it or viewing it as this is an uplifting film for women, and then you do also have people reading it as this is a movie talking about like the trials or the state of like modern 21st century man, you know.
Forgive them, they know not what they do. There's a really good interview. Who's the guy who's really good at interviewing people and the actor behind the actor studio or whatever?
Channel 5 News. Oh
no, old school guy. He was interviewing Steven Spielberg, and he made the correlation in Close Encounters with the Third Kind that they communicate with the aliens through music. And he's like, "Oh, your mother was a musician, and your father was a director. So them communicating through the TV with music is sort of like a parallel, right?" And Steven Spielberg is like, "Yeah, whoa, I didn't even think of that. I realized that just now. Oh my god." Well, thank you for saying that. Like, some artists just do not know subliminally what they put out there.
Yeah, like subconsciously, some of like the nuances or your frustrations can come through, and like maybe there's another guy on YouTube. I don't know if I'd want to recommend him just because his videos are all like 3 hours long for most things. I think his name is like Little Platoon. I definitely wouldn't recommend him to everyone, but if you want to like sit down for 3 hours or you're doing something, you can listen to it in the background. But like he's, I think, a philosophy major, or like he's a pretty not high tier, but like has a pretty high, what am I trying to say? He's at least a master's in philosophy, and all he does is like rip films apart. But he's got a video basically talking about this, and he brings up like maybe some of these aspects are Greta Gerwig's recognizing subconsciously, at least, that like not all of the things being said, like being exposited in the movie, are true, and you get that through the character of Ken, who, like, his life isn't good. He starts off miserable, and he ends the movie slightly less miserable.
That's
Basically, like, being told to be okay to go off on his own.
Progress.
And I think you get, like, maybe one line about that to, like, tie his story up. But yeah, so...
Dude, it's all gonna come together in Barbie 2 when he teams up with his Puss in Boots counterpart, whoever the fuck that may be. You think I'm wrong?
All right, so...
I thought he was teaming up with He-Man for like the like Mattel Avengers.
Great, that could be his Puss in Boots counterpart.
I would like to see a Ken movie where he's getting played with by a kid who's pretending that he's like a Vietnam, like a Vietnam G.I. Joe kind of guy.
I was gonna say he is the G.I. Joe hostage.
You got, like,
G.I. Joes have to go rescue him.
You basically have Ryan Gosling as Ken doing like an 80s Schwarzenegger, Stallone in the jungle kind of movie.
Mm-hmm. he's got the black paint on the cheeks to block his reflected cheekbones.
But like progressively, the movie gets like more and more absurd. Like instead of fighting the Viet Cong, he's fighting like undead skeleton hordes, and then like I don't know what other boys' properties Mattel owns, but
Hot Wheels.
Yeah, he hops in a Hot Wheels and starts just
absolutely.
like
jungle chase with every Hot Wheel that's ever been in production.
Gunning down gremlins and whatnot.
Goes off a plastic ramp.
Yeah, they probably won't be allowed to make that though, because J.J. Abrams is making the Hot Wheels movie.
Oh my god! Think about it when they do like the side by side wheels spinning. How much lens flare is going to come off that? You're going to have cataracts by the end of it. If you have subtitles.
God, dude, him and his fucking lens flares.
He's never living it down.
Who's gonna tell him that like lens flares in a movie doesn't mean good cinematography?
I was impressed when it happened in Star Trek the first time. I'm just saying. I remember vividly, and I was like, man, that's amazing. And I said, ow, after the third one. And I said, is this going to be every movie?
And he said, not only every movie, also every Star Trek TV show.
I'm gonna make it the staple of sci-fi. Nothing makes your mind wander like a big old flash of light in the fucking corner.
God.
My brain's supposed to look there. What's going on? Nothing?
Alright, that's all I have to say about Barbie.
That's all I have to say about that.
Twisted Metal?
Twisted Metal. Alright, so Scott and I talked about the first 5 episodes last week.
I forgot to watch the other 5.
What the fuck?
I'm just kidding. I'm fucking
oh.
with you. No, I watched them. I liked it. I liked all of it. I get what you were referring to with the ball pit now.
Yep.
They got it on in that ball pit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked what they did, especially with like, okay, so we ended up with like, I think essentially the climax where you had all of our characters kind of come back together for this like small battle royale with all of the vehicles.
Yeah,
and
which is kind of a. I mean, obviously it's the namesake. Like Twisted Metal is a game that's basically a demolition derby.
Yeah.
And you got an aspect of that in episode 5. But then, like you said, episode 6 is like the ball talk stuff. Ball talk. The
ball talk.
The ball pack.
The ball pit stuff.
Yeah.
Which I found, like, it's a slow episode because there's like the storm going on. And you don't really know what's going on with the storm.
I was going to say, I almost just would... I get it, like they were using that to like really solidify the romance between our two protagonists here, but
like,
that part felt
lot in this episode, like dialogue, character motivation. I found it was a rather touching character development episode.
Yeah,
they also introduced that kind of supernatural, otherworldly element of this storm, which like strikes him and gives him a weird scar on his back. You know?
Yeah. No, I think I enjoyed it overall. It was pretty slow, and then at the same time, like it felt something about the way they broke it up with like the flashbacks and everything. I didn't enjoy as much. I liked the flashback. I think I liked the flashbacks more than I enjoyed like what was going on with them, like in this this fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was good. It felt. I think like the pacing or something was a little off for me.
I wish I had taken better notes because I watched this 2 weeks ago now, and for episode 7, all I wrote was, "Holy shit, that's a dark opening." More Sweet Tooth backstory, the bar fight.
Oh, that was the one where it reveals that Sweet Tooth was the child actor, and the way he like.
Oh, with the dog.
Yeah,
Man.
I was watching that and I was like, "Holy fuck!" I was like,
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Holy shit,
that's
got a
me
dark
little bit.
opening.
That is very dark. Yeah, that shit.
Because like
that
up
shit.
to that point,
Oof.
he almost seems as like a cartoony, silly kind of character, and then like that's his backstory, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
What the fuck?
Yeah, that one threw me off. I was like, "Damn."
Because you think the actor he's jealous of is like another kid.
Yeah.
And the dog comes out of the bathroom with
These
the
are,
toilet
like,
paper on his paw, and you're like,
fucking
"Oh
Billy."
my god, that's so funny."
I was like, with a name like Billy, who names a dog fucking Billy? And then, yeah, the dog comes out and you're just like... And then I knew where it was going. I was just like, no, fucking don't do it. And he fucking did it.
And the Skittles. You learn why you like Skittles.
Yep.
Episode 8 was the Walk in the Storm and John opening. That's where you see him wake up as a kid.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good, interesting. It was like interesting to learn the backstory of the character of Evelyn, you know?
Yeah. I did enjoy getting to see like how he found her, or how he found her, and like all that, because that's in conjunction with the Holy Men stuff, right? I believe.
That's also the pseudo biker gang Holy Men. I actually wrote that I appreciate a biker gang that isn't just a they're not just portrayed as like a white supremacist group, because typically you'd be like, oh, there's a biker gang and it's like all white dudes who have like hoods on, but this is a gang that all has hoods on, but they're all different ethnicities, and the preacher who leads them is, I can never remember that actor's name.
Isn't he Nick from New Girl? That's the dude, right?
No,
he looks so much like him.
No, he is. Oh, fuck.
It's let's see. I got it
Good
here.
old what's his face?
Jason Mantzoukas.
Oh, see, I was like, for some reason he looks a little bit like the guy who plays Nick in New Girl.
I mean, I guess.
Or maybe it's that they also kind of sound the same. But yeah, this is the dude from the League.
Yeah, I don't know what all he's been in. Usually I don't like him. This is another part. I think I started to talk about it in the other one where I was like, it has a lot of actors in it that typically I don't like them. But he's an actor kind of like Anthony Mackie, where like I'd never been impressed with his performance or anything like that before. But in this, they like got the most out of him, and he's actually like a pretty interesting character. And they do bring up his actual Twisted Metal backstory, which is that he gets possessed by like a demon baby and murders a whole like church of people.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. So they might actually get into like the supernatural aspect of the game, you know? Yeah. And then I believe this is also the episode where Evelyn dies.
Yes. Yep. Evelyn does die. I will say Roadkill is a really cool upgrade, though.
Roadkill is visually a cool car.
Yeah.
Very Mad Maxy.
I
Looks
was
like the
about to say
V8
the same
Interceptor.
thing. Yeah.
I don't know what it actually is. I'm not a car guy. Disclaimer, I'm not a car guy.
I think
You're
it...
not a car guy.
I don't know what it is.
Episode 9 was definitely a little slow, but it was a good setup for episode 10. Like at the end of episode 9, you are very keen to see some Twisted Metal at the start of episode 10. And by that, I do mean the finale, you know? You get the big car fight, and it's pretty cool. Episode 10, explosive romance. Effects, not always great, but fun. Practical wrecks were very good. That's something that you just don't see a lot now, is like use of practical effects and stuff.
Yeah.
And it sets up them getting a season 2 pretty well. I don't know if they will, especially with all the writers and actors on strike now, but I mean, I'm hoping that they get a season 2.
Yeah, they definitely set it up for it, so I would hope so.
Like John's betrayal too at the end. He gets betrayed by his lover and the people he's working for.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, they set it up. I mean, I love that they were just like they're setting it up for like, hey, like now we're actually getting into like the actual like destruction derby, like battle royale sort of thing. It
almost feels like the setup to like a Mortal Kombat movie. Like at the end, they show you the like tournament board and all the different like characters, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. This is a failing on my part. I can't remember what Calypso was in the game, so I don't know what character or like what this person is supposed to facilitate in the show.
Yeah.
Apart from the tournament, you know.
Calypso? I want to say in Twisted Metal or Calypso's like I want to say like very similar to Shang Tsung. I want to say he's like the organizer of Twisted Metal and he's like the boss. He's like the Vince McMahon.
Ah.
God, dude. You know what I get recommended all the time on Instagram is like wrestling videos. And like half of them are Vince McMahon just being fucking outlandish.
Yeah, I mean, quite literally 2 sentences into the Calypso Twisted Metal wiki. Calypso is the creator of the Twisted Metal contest.
Dude, talking about Vince McMahon, I was at a bar this past weekend. It's actually a dope, super cool arcade bar where they just have like a bunch of old school arcade games and like N64s and shit hooked up where you can like play like Super Smash tournaments and all. But they at like the upstairs like outside area, they do nothing but play WWE like compilations from like a DVD disc. They had on Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
And then that finished up and they switched to Vince McMahon. I was like, that's pretty cool.
It's funny because if you watch some of like the mid 2000s stuff, God, there were no filters back then.
Yeah.
Like the era whenever John Cena was like rapping at people is just fucking insane.
They loved it.
I still love it. I one of those videos pop up, I'll watch it to completion like 3 times in a row. Right. Speaking of demolition derbies, Waterworld.
Ooh,
of course. Yeah, definitely demolitions.
First of all, this movie wanted to be Mad Max so bad.
Oh yeah.
But did it have to be?
So I actually watched this with Casey last night, and I was sitting there, and I turned, I go, at one point I go, this is, they wanted to be Mad Max, but like, instead of it just being like this dry, arid desert wasteland, it's just water.
Yeah.
They're like, we're just going to hydrate everything.
And it wasn't enough for them to just be like, yeah, we want to be like Mad Max. They're like, no, we have to go one step farther. So there's like the girl with the prophecy, and then he's a mutant, and his ship is like a super special boat that has special powers.
Fucking bizarro Star Chaser ship. No one's seen a catamaran before in their fucking life. Woo! And I'm sorry, it might not be a catamaran. I forget which one has the 3.
Well, even to the point that like they call water hydro, just like in Mad Max, it's given the Aqua-Cola name.
Pure hydro.
And the same thing with like obviously the limited resources and all that. It just it felt that way.
The movie, I think, suffers from like not only wrong time, wrong place in reality,
It suffers from
wrong
the whole
time,
middle
wrong
act.
place, wrong time, wrong place within its whole universe. Like, I'm just saying, why is humanity generations removed from civilization to where everyone alive has no clue that there's buildings under them? Like they don't know that there's
Like,
like
it's
yeah,
only
we
been,
once
like-
came from the earth and then it flooded.
120 years or something like that, I thought they
Yeah.
said.
But like, why not make it like fucking 10 years? The world the world would be underwater.
Because Kevin Costner couldn't be a freaking fish mutant.
Well, see, you could admit that if you wanted to.
Also,
B,
so funny because that's not how mutations work.
Yeah.
It's not like you fucking
yeah.
mutate to fit the world you
'Cause-
live in. You have random mutations, and the creatures that survive are the ones that are like.
He also has to have like an air bladder somewhere inside of him so he doesn't suffer from like decompression sickness or anything. But that's anatomy class. I'm not good at that.
So there were, and I wish I'd written them down. There were a couple plot holes, like big plot holes.
A
that,
couple.
Like, there were some plot holes that Casey and I noticed, like as we were watching it. She pointed out one. One of them I pointed out right from the get go is like he shows up at the atoll, and he's just like, "Hey, I got this dirt I want to trade." And then he like gets all these chits, and then he buys a tomato plant, and I'm like, "What is that? What is that tomato plant growing in?"
Well,
The same amount of dirt.
Yeah,
It's the same amount of fucking dirt. Like what?
No, so dirt is like gold to them. So like,
Yeah.
it's not. I guess I see your point of like, why didn't I? Are you saying like, why didn't he just keep the dirt?
Well, no, because I'm like, no, more so. I'm just like, is that tomato plant in some fucking dirt not worth more
Tom?
than the fucking like half of the chits he got for the fucking dirt?
But he got double the chits.
Tom saying that the dirt is like
That's fair.
gold to them gave me freaking I Think You Should Leave flashbacks where they're playing the song and he's like, and the bones are dollars.
The dirt's like gold to them.
Because they're skeletons. The bones are like dollars.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
What is it? The bones are their money.
God.
Um,
Like, in Mad Max, the vehicles become like characters, right? But his boat is clearly gimmicky, but it like never takes that next step into like becoming a character in the way that like Max's V8 Interceptor does, or like the freaking War Rig or anything like that, you know?
literally the turn where he loses his boat and they lose their girl, and he goes, there goes my boat. Like he isn't dumbfounded. Like he just fucking sits down and goes, what am I gonna do now? Like he is sobbing. Like they're stranded, so they're basically dead.
Also,
And like she sits there and
we're
says,
basically dead, and she's like, I guess we should fuck now.
yes. I'm going to say, why didn't you love me earlier? And he's gonna be the fucking shy boy in high school twisting his ankle because I know you didn't really like me. What? You're actually thinking, man, I hope some crayons are laying around so we can like write something down so the world knows we were
He's
here.
like,
No.
I won't have you, but I will sell your sex off so that I can get some paper.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. God.
Also, it's very convenient that they left like the library of his ship just like intact. Like the one thing they didn't scuttle or raid, they're like, fuck it, it's gonna sink. We're good. And it's just like the treasure trove that they left behind. He's got National Geographics just sitting in there with evidence of trees, and no one cares.
Yeah, like, she's drawing mangroves, and I happen to have a National Geographic that has that on the cover.
Yeah, dude, she's
What?
seen land. What? Also, the movie benefits way more if and potential for a sequel. But I remember hearing somewhere that by the end of this movie, no one wanted to even attempt to do it again. But Kevin Costner dies, and they never find dry land. Dry land needs to still be like a hope, an ideal. The fact that they find their little island oasis, and Kevin Costner's like, yeah, you guys are cool and all, but I'm going to split. My true love is the sea.
Yeah.
What development is that for our hero? Also, I got a million problems in one with Kevin Costner.
It's also like why Mad Max works, but this doesn't, right? Is because there is a promised land. People go out looking for it, and they find out that it's not real, and they have to improve the world that they're living in. And like that's the actual moral of the story is, hey, there is nowhere else to go. The Earth is on fire. We have to fix it, right? Like, it's very much an ecological theme of, like, we have to fix the world that we're in, you know? Whereas this is like, no, it's real. We can go somewhere else.
Yeah, just keep the faith. Literally, in Kevin Costner's case, be a dick because you're a mutant and you figure no one else is going to like you, so you're kind of just a swashbuckler. Be nice to two people, and eventually you'll find salvation. God, you can ditch him, by the way.
Talking so much about Kevin Costner, though, let's talk about like casting for this movie. Kevin Costner is the lead. I don't know how I feel about his performance. Like, I get what they were going for, but it just felt boring. He's at his best when he's actively engaging with the scenery, like chewing the scenery around him. But he's written to not do that, and you end up with this like flat, underutilized performance. Like, he's a good actor, and he does nothing for this entire movie.
He's too unassuming of a man to be the mysterious man with no name. Yeah. Like, he just looks like a normal ass dude. You're like, what the fuck does this jabroni want?
Like, the fact that you like Dennis Hopper more, Deacon.
Yep. You love the bad guys in this movie. The bad guys in this movie are fucking fun. And like they're not stupid. They plan ambushes. Who the fuck would suspect jet skis underwater hidden with ballast and you doing the Home Alone on a fucking shipwreck with dead people? Who the fuck is like, yeah, something doesn't seem right. I talked to them.
That they somehow got there before him, despite the fact that he's got the fastest boat in the world.
Yes. Deacon was on his shit. Kevin Costner is just more than a man, clearly. He's a mutant. But
Dennis Hopper is like the standout performance. That dude is just fucking awesome in like everything he's in.
Absolutely.
Even the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie where he plays King Koopa, Dennis Hopper's the fucking dude.
Come on. That was the whole reason why my
brother
bought
circles back.
His first paycheck, he bought 3 DVDs off eBay. Porky's, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Tank Girl. And we watched all 3 of those suckers. It was such a mix, and I will forever be thankful for it. But yes, Dennis Hopper is fantastic in this movie. His right hand, oh god, I think his name was
the Australian guy, right? Yeah,
Nord?
I think Nord.
He was great. You should have bought me that drink. Like, that's why he's his bad guy. I'm your rival because you didn't give me a drink.
Yeah.
We're forever connected. Man. Also, do you guys know that good old Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World is in it? He's the goofy little scientist. The guy, if we don't know Elmo's World, Mr. Noodle.
I think that's before my time, Tom.
Dude, y'all are crazy. I just don't think you were on PBS, that's all.
Oh, I was definitely on PBS. Arthur, Clifford, I was there, buddy.
And then Sesame Street, and then specifically the end of Sesame Street, Elmo's World, and you would sometimes go to Mr. Noodle, and Mr. Noodle is like this mime guy who has crazy hair. He's also from Jurassic Park 3. He's the guy who gets eaten by the Spinosaurus, the guy. There's many.
Wild, absolutely wild. But then Jean Triplehorn, the girl who plays the female lead, like, she's a great actress, but again, like, she's written so annoying in the beginning that you never get over it.
So, how is she, like, the straight arrow, I don't know how the world works, again, generations into the world being water?
Right? Like
how does she not have her
world works at this point?
Yeah. How is she like, oh man, what's going on here? We're out at sea. What? Like,
yeah, and then
how do you not have like some decorum and like how to carry yourself?
She doesn't know anything, and then like out of nowhere she'll be like, "Isn't that your code?" And you're like, "Wait a second."
Yeah, she is very wishy-washy with her logic. She doesn't know whether or not to be a damsel in distress or I can do stuff and just pick a lane. It's cool.
And then like I think I texted you guys about this or something, but like I legitimately didn't know Jack Black was the pilot until the end credits. What a waste of a performance.
Just
and then I posted his cut scene, and I'm like, that scene is good. Cut one of the stupid, boring scenes where nothing is happening in the middle of the movie and put that in.
Well, so, like, the story beats in this movie are great, but the execution literally makes it feel like a QuickTime event in a video game that feels so unnecessary and extended that you're like, why is this going on 5 minutes longer than it has to? A scene that sticks out to me is a boat chase. The boat chase where they get ambushed and they have to go to the left side of the catamaran to dodge the net. All right, now we have to go to the right side. Steer the boat, forget it, come to the right side, hit the circle button, rotate your joystick. And I'm just like, I'm waiting for the events to pop up. I wish I had a controller so that I could play around. But like, it's crazy how I can almost see that pattern and go like, man, that just doesn't feel right. That just isn't how a movie flows. A good movie flows.
But then the return to casting, Kim Coates, who plays the other like seafarer guy, losing his mind. He's a fantastic actor, and
amazing.
Even in this, what a weirdo! Like, he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And like, literally, all they had to do was like, he needed more screen time. Like, and he needed to be a character that wasn't such a freak, so that he could join the main crew, so that he's like in the end fight.
This movie benefits from the less screen time you have in this movie, like the better off you are, with like exception to Dennis Hopper. Everyone who's in this movie for like 10 minutes, you're like, they were great! What happened to them? But like, in the back of your mind, you're like, you know what, maybe it's best that they only got their 10 minute scene. I don't think I could take an hour and a half of them.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, he's such a good actor, and it felt like such a waste to kill his character off.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to figure this was...
He absolutely could have become like a goofy, quirky, like kind of losing his mind sidekick.
Yeah,
right? He could have been there for all of the stuff that he was
and at the very
Kevin
end, become the
Costner's
sacrificial lamb.
at the end. Yeah, like the fucking Nord could have shot him instead.
Yep, I was gonna say he could have caught the bullet for him, which also is crazy. Kevin Costner does the whole fourth act with a fucking wound in the gut. I get it.
Yeah,
it's not gonna kill you.
Yeah, he's like ziplining and shit.
Yeah. No biggie. He gets poked in it and he just goes, poke me harder, daddy. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what's going on through his character's head.
Like, the cast was just so underutilized, man. Like, just wasteful.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, even it's funny because like, it seems even like some of the characters were just written to be better. Like, Kevin Costner's character, just in execution, bad. Dennis Hopper straight up gets like amazing lines he gets to say. You got two ways of getting out of here. No way and no how. Ha ha ha.
Dude,
like,
I love his introduction where he's like, cousin, what's that cousin's name? I think it's Charles. Charles. Maybe he goes by Chuck or Charlie or whatever it is he says. Like,
did I say that? I might have said that. And then like hands the gun off to Nord to go kill them. Like, this guy's great. And he got I don't think maybe Dennis Hopper was improvising. That'd be amazing. That makes sense. But at the same time, he gets those lines and they get in the movie. Everybody else gets like, I think Kevin Costner, what is it? You need to listen more. Listen to what? The ocean? Like, what the fuck? Say something fun. Say something where like,
well, that's what I'm saying is like,
with
you would put up with him being the straight man if they added Kim Coates' character as like a quirky fucking weirdo, you know?
At least someone to make him like, because the movie also has a weird tone where it doesn't know if it wants to be whimsical fun adventure or deep dark, this is like what society digressed to Mad Max. Like, it doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, fun adventure, out at sea, maybe find land, or society has crumbled, everything fucking sucks, and all people want is clean water and oil still for some reason.
Yeah, which like you just can't like you just can't do it because of the way the villains are written, right? Like, it's always gonna come across as like goofy silliness.
Dude, it felt like the very beginning. It felt so decent. Like, it felt like the movie was taking itself just seriously enough, and then it very quickly devolved into very fucking silly. like very
Listen,
over the top.
as soon as they break out the 50 cal,
Yeah,
give me the keys to the city, will you? Like,
Yeah,
you're like,
the
oh
fucking
no,
keys
is
to
this
the
really
city,
gonna be?
and he's
is this
got the
gonna be
freaking
siege?
pig mask on, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's legitimately funny.
And then they go ramping off, and these, like, so Dennis Hopper isn't a moron, but his goons absolutely get in the way of everything, and that's the best part.
and it's even stuff like them like. The whole scene where they're on the jet skis, they have like the nets or like whatever, and they're trying to like catch his boat, and he's just
They
like
fuck that up too.
he's just like having them all lean to one side, like lift up the side, and then like they go over it, and then like eventually they all like all the jet skis just get
They
tangled
fucking,
together in like
net
one mass.
themselves. Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I feel like the easiest way to improve this movie, right, is that they just needed to gradually add more and more recognizable faces to each side. So at the end, they could have like this big monumental clash. Like, add Jack Black in as a character, add Kim Coates in as a character, and like
Dude,
each
give
side
everybody
amasses
space.
forces.
Because you gotta figure this is a 3-hour movie. This is an epic, and it climaxes with the lone super soldier, who again is Kevin Costner, which nothing against Kevin Costner, but the most unassuming superhero I would ever meet in my whole fucking life. If Kevin Costner walks up to me and he's like, "You got another thing coming," I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that scared of you. Arnold doesn't even have to say anything to me. If he walks into a room, I'm like, holy shit, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, that man's huge.
Yeah, he's got like
I hope he's not mad at me.
arms, you know, he's
Yeah,
fucking massive.
That's an imposing figure.
my question is, why not just get Mel Gibson?
Well, and I was gonna say, to Mel Gibson, the Bruce Willis, those squirrely, like, I'm just a normal dude, but I got like panache. Like, at least they have something to them, to where they can play like a strong silent type. Kevin Costner can't do it. He works best in like with quirks and like jabs and
like
getting in the last
when he was
word.
like engaging with the scenery and like
when he's
talking
Robin
with
Hood,
people.
Okay, I can dig it. I dig that hero. I dig his Robin, like the believability of it. He could be Robin Loxley. He can't be the silent mariner. Oh, I'm a vagabond. Even in have you guys seen The Postman?
No, I haven't.
Postman is some it's just some what am I saying? Cut and dry post-apocalyptic. Like, it's like a boy and his dog kind of movie. He's literally, it's kind of where Fallout New Vegas gets its courier idea from. He is a postman who's delivering news between civilizations and this wasteland.
So something we haven't really talked about is that at the time it was made, this was the most expensive film that had ever been made.
What?
And it's not hard to see why it flopped.
That's wild.
So the director, whenever he was looking at making this movie, went to Spielberg, who had shot Jaws, and he was like, how do I do this? And Spielberg was like, whatever you do not shoot on open water. Shoot in a tank. And you know what he did?
He shot in open fucking water.
Shot in open water.
That atoll set is in open water.
Imagine paying for a fleet of ships, like chartering a fleet of ships every freaking day
Shooting.
for 6 to 12 weeks of shooting.
It kind of killed like just doing things, like having all physical sets like that. It was the death of practical and like the birth of CGI all in one. Like, it was just a whole revolution. Like, right out Toy Story, whole game changed overnight. Because Waterworld and Toy Story.
the CGI of the whole underwater scene, like
the CGI of the water scene,
any CGI that had to happen,
kite
in this movie
coming out.
God.
Yep.
Oh, I just want to say, as I watched her get into that submarine that he pulled down underwater, I was just like, I just want to take a picture of this and post it and be like, this was the submarine the billionaires were all in.
might as well have been.
Yeah.
She didn't get cold or nothing. Not even the, ooh, my toes. Like, she's fine. She's just going, no.
And they go several atmospheres down.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
So it's
That's
like
27 fathoms at least. They should have seen some fishies. That's the other thing. Only one shark attack? Like, not even like a, whoa, look at this whale. Like, every marine, there should be marine, like, I don't want to say everywhere, but you should be bumping into a little more than just a shark. Or
Yeah.
That's a
Listen,
nitpick. That's a nitpick. They were already over budget.
Listen, I was about to say, listen, Tom, it wasn't in the budget.
I'll take it. We
That
wanted purple
said, though,
fishes swimming through it.
the practical effects in this are very, very good.
Oh no, they're great. It's just
They're fantastic.
to make that all happen. So nuts.
I mean,
It's so
we
expensive.
talked, I think, last week or the week before about how at Universal Studios they had the Waterworld experience or whatever, where they do the stunt show.
Yeah.
And it was like based on Waterworld or whatever, and like it was just a bunch of practical effects, and they show you kind of how they did them in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you wouldn't have that if they weren't so good in the movie. Like they are very good in the movie.
Definitely. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a hilariously ridiculous movie that I gotta kick. You know, I might revisit it eventually.
Oh, I
enjoyed
it.
it.
On Blu-ray. I don't have Peacock, that's why I didn't watch Twisted Metal either. But I own it on Blu-ray, and I popped it in last night. Watched like a quarter of it, passed out, and finished it. Literally coming in
You
here.
missed the most boring part.
Yeah, I sure did.
The whole middle hour.
Like I really, because this is a goldmine idea. Waterworld is such a neat idea.
Yeah,
It's
and it plays
highly
with, like,
exaggerated and could totally be funny, and like that's the point.
So that brings me to my next point. Do you guys want to do you guys want to go in together and do the remake?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Waterworld would 110% work as a Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo-esque episodic series where you get 25 episodes. About like 18 of them don't matter, fun water adventures, but like the 6 that really, really matter, that everyone's like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. We knock it out of the park, boys. We gotta have like a dog episode. We'd knock it out of the park. I'm not wrong. They would work so well as like episodic, this is the adventures of the mariner. And instead of making him a man with no name traveling the waters on his boat, make him more of like a...
I hate that they don't give him a name.
I hate that. Yeah, again, I think that plays into it would be way better if society wasn't so far removed and like he did come from civilization. And to touch on the mutant thing, it wouldn't be unfathomable to think that the governments would know that the ice caps are melting and that ocean levels are going to rise. So maybe Kevin Costner could have been a soldier who they experimented on, and that's how he gets his gills and flippers.
Make much more sense because the way this movie portrays mutantism, you kind of expect to meet a society of mutants at some point.
Yes, and that's the other thing. I don't doubt that humanity wouldn't go to like nomadic culture. But I don't think it would be one drifter just hanging out. Hey, I'm a drifter. You don't know whether or not to trust me. There would be like 6 people hanging out on a boat together and going like, "Hey, you're alone. What the fuck are you doing?"
As far as I'm concerned, he's the only fucking one because we don't.
Yeah, everyone else is like, we've only been in the square mile of water. We don't know anything around us. And he's like, "Oh, I've sailed the 7 seas. Oh, I mean the entire.
I've sailed farther than anyone else has even dreamed."
Yeah, and also, are they hanging out in the Mediterranean? Because he said they're speaking Portuguese, so if he knows that Portuguese and Greek are languages, where did those languages come from?
That would make sense.
The before time.
Yes.
Well, the thing is that those two societies are naturally seafaring societies.
Yeah. Surely. So I mean, they would have a great
enslaved
handle.
half of Africa and sent them to America to live, and the Greeks were, they got lost in the Aegean for 10 years at a time.
Listen, when you got a 2,000 island archipelago just spitting out of your east coast, you get lost all over the place. You're lucky.
Right, speaking of mutants, though,
Teenage Mutant?
Have you guys heard of Chaos Rising?
No.
So Chaos Rising was a crowd-funded little film, kind of a proof of concept that you could make a show or a movie inspired by the Warhammer Fantasy world. They full released it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it right now. I'm pretty sure all you have to search is Chaos Rising. But it's like, I'm going to admit, it has more of a fan film type feel than anything else.
Yeah.
In that aspect that, like, it's fun, but it kind of unavoidably falls into the, like, fan film trap of being, like, a little too campy at points.
Mm-hmm. You can't get past the overshadowed framing.
Yeah, like at some points, like I'd say it even like skips camp and just goes straight to cheese, but like it certainly tries to keep to the spirit of the thing, like tries to keep to the spirit of Warhammer Fantasy, because it's just like a little 40-minute film, and it's about a group of Norscan raiders who are raiding a Bretonnian village, or a Bretonnian fort, I guess. And there's like all this backstory that comes in, and they show you the same scene like 3 times from like different people's perspectives, and you're like, stop showing me this. Just give me more action. I will say the special effects in that, not great. There's lots of like beheadings that just look like cartoony.
Like Equilibrium?
It's been so long since I've watched Equilibrium.
It's always a good one.
Well,
but
Scott, Greg?
Huh?
Have you seen Equilibrium?
No.
Oh boy,
bro, you never seen
next
Gun Fu?
Wait, what is this?
It's like
Christian Bale.
It's a 2001, maybe 2002. Movie. Yeah. You can't show emotion in society, and they're like these enforcers that make sure you don't show emotion.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It's like if Brave New World met The Matrix.
Oh god,
yeah.
it did so bad. It grossed $5.3 million on a budget of $20 million.
Dude.
Oh my god, it did so bad.
So now you have to watch it.
I really want to.
And that is
it's
another
not
gold
good,
mine
but
idea.
it is fun.
It's another gold mine idea. All-star cast. Something happened along the way.
It's got good reviews. It's got good reviews, though. It's got a 7.3 on IMDb. It's got a 4.4 on Google.
That's probably a bunch of 20-somethings.
It's got a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I was going to say, I guess it's not good.
Wait, from critics or audience?
I don't know. I gotta, hold on.
I mean, it's kind of like... I would say it's like proto-Underworld. Proto-Resident, like right there with the first Resident Evil.
It's got a 40% from critics. It's got an 81% from audience.
That just goes to show
it's
you
entertaining.
The critics are out of touch with the people.
No, it's entertaining. So, like, what's your criteria for a good movie? Could you sit through the whole thing? Did you have a smile at the end of it? I think if you watched Equilibrium, both of those things would happen.
Equilibrium
that's on my
is
list
the
now.
Movie equivalent of a mall ninja.
It's just so good. There's so many good parts of Equilibrium to where
I'm ready for it.
You just, like, it's an incredulous laugh that you just saw what you saw and you don't regret it. You might even have to rewind.
There's actually some pretty interesting cinematography in it too.
Oh no, and like there's some cool parts. And there's I want to say when
I can't remember if he shoots out all the lights in one scene and then all you see is like muzzle flash for like the lighting of it, but it's got some pretty cool scenes for sure.
It's also got some pretty decent like cuts. I want to say they have some fun with him and like his mirror when he's like stopping to take his medication.
It's on the list. It's on the list.
Yeah.
I do want to say if we're gonna shoot this new Waterworld, I have one stipulation. It might take some extra money in the budget to teach him how to act, but I do have a request for our lead.
He's coming back.
I'll do it.
I was gonna say
I'll be the lead.
I was gonna say Michael Phelps. We get Michael Phelps to play the lead. He's already got the web. He's already got the web feet.
No,
yeah.
You know how much money we'd lose in the freaking catering budget? Guys,
That
I
would-
have to
that
eat
would be the
12,000
thing.
calories a day.
Well-
Don't do it. Get rid of him. We can't afford his food budget.
Dude, the guy's costing us fucking $200 a week on monsters.
Movie cost $1 million to make, and 900,000 of that is just food budget.
I thought you were gonna say CG Dennis Hopper, and I was gonna be about it.
He died in 2010.
Yeah, so it's in perfect taste.
Broke my heart.
Oh god.
Broke my little heart.
Let's
get to the true tour de force. Conan the Barbarian,
Conan
1982.
So
the Barbarian.
So
We watched. It was the Jason Momoa one we watched, right?
Stop it.
Ack. That is actually a huge ack. Because so right here, right now, before we get to talk about Conan, we have to address it before we forget forever. Conan's the better movie, right? Waterworld versus Conan.
Conan is absolutely the better movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it.
I don't know. I think
Greg.
I think I preferred Waterworld.
Holy shnikey! Like even like.
Stop fucking trolling, Scott.
I was gonna say you take.
He's fucking trolling.
No,
you're that girly dude.
No, you're allowed. You're even allowed to play devil's advocate because Waterworld definitely like. There's so much there. Like I think everyone who watches Waterworld can come up with a good idea for what they would do in their Waterworld, and they aren't wrong. Like it has a lot of good. It's missing a lot of things.
The only thing I
Conan
would
the
love to
Barbarian
do in Waterworld is die.
Conan the Barbarian is like a whole movie. It's like solid, start to finish. It's got a foundation that it just builds on and gets better and better and better. What is the riddle of steel? And I mean, like,
and also like all of the character building is like
it's so good. It's so good. We love like
the dialogue hits.
Oh,
and it's incredibly quotable.
So I think this movie is a really good example of like letting your actors act with their body language and their face. James Earl Jones straight up put a woman at peace just with a stare and like a calming gaze, and then kills her.
Fucking backhands her to death.
I was gonna. I mean, that's Conan's mom. He straight up decapitates her.
He backhands her head off.
Like. And I couldn't help but wonder, like, what the hell is a blind or seeing impaired person thinking while this is happening? They're just sitting in the theater and they're like, what the hell's going on? It's just silent. But there's so much going on just between these looks, between these characters. And
yeah, I was going to say it's a movie
so
with very little dialogue.
Explained. So little.
There's so very little dialogue.
The dialogue is rare,
movie.
but it's punchy. Like it's very 70s in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's very efficient with its dialogue.
I do want to say, so it didn't register to me that Doom was James Earl Jones until I was sitting there. I'm just like, his voice sounds so familiar. And then it hits me right at the end, and I'm like, oh shit!
Did it hit you when he said, "I am your father"?
It hit me when he said when he calls him my son. He's like, my son.
My son.
Yeah. And then it hit me and I was like, no fucking way.
Fuck yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's fucking him.
And like that's like the actors in this were some big chop actors. Like
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it says a lot whenever like the worst actor in this, like probably the least compelling performance is Arnold, but like he doesn't need that because he's not relying on that for his scenes. He's relying on his body, you know, like his line delivery isn't perfect, but like because he is who he is and he's like one of the biggest freaking dudes in the world at the time that this was made, like every freaking scene you're looking at him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I also just like how like to compare it to just like 80s versus 90s adventure, like Conan to Waterworld, Conan is so almost like saturated with color, it seems like.
Yeah, big sprawling vistas, interesting landscapes, the sky.
It seems Waterworld, I hate to give it a 7.8 on IGN because of too much water, but I mean, like, it is nothing but light blue gradients and Kevin Costner in the frame sometimes.
God, and the costuming for Waterworld just looks so dirty.
Mm-hmm. What I mean, especially in the end when Kevin Costner gets like the shotgun bandolier and the vest on, and he looks like he straight up belongs on land. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, he looks
You're
like a
not
Mad
pirate.
Max character at that point.
Just give him a helmet and some goggles, and he's good to go. Actually, he had a pair of goggles, I think, like around his neck or something, around his head.
Yeah, I think that was his disguise, wasn't it? Just
Yeah.
wearing a pair of goggles. Yeah.
Little goofus maloofus.
But then, like, all of the characters in Conan are, like, compelling, interesting characters. Jerry Lopez as Subutai is, like, the coolest sidekick
Love
there's ever been.
Subutai. It's... You all... He catches me by surprise every time. I'm like, oh my god, Subutai, I forgot about you, man.
Yeah.
What a
And
fucking,
then
what a
you
trusty
find out-
ward. Trusty ward. Just every Batman needs his Robin, and Subutai fits right in there.
And you find out that Jerry Lopez was just a freaking famous surfer that, you know, got cast in this and does a phenomenal performance. I mean, the legendary Mako as the wizard and narrator, like a freaking icon of our childhoods. Aku from Samurai Jack.
Yep.
General Iroh from Uncle Iroh from Avatar, Last Airbender.
I went with his military. That's how much respect I have for
I respect him. I saluted when I said it. Like, it's just excellent casting. And again, like, Arnold's the weakest acting wise, but he's also like the character that draws your eye in every scene. So it's like easily forgivable.
Oh, and I mean, just such a presence, just being there.
I will say, Shelby walked in halfway through me watching this movie, and she asked why all the men in this movie have, and I quote, slutty little bangs.
Don't worry about it. It was the time of high adventure. Everyone had slutty
Max
little
von
bangs.
Sydow is old King Osric.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. He gives that like jaded dude who's been in power so long that like it truly means nothing to him. And when he's giving that whole monologue about like there will come a time when jewels cease to glitter and the only thing that matters is your loved ones, you know, and it hits hard. And the movie at times like gets hammy, but even then I enjoy it, right? It's kind of the inverse of Waterworld in that way, where it's like Waterworld is generally hammy and then it gets serious and that's when it gets boring. Whereas this is like generally a serious movie and then it'll get hammy, but when it gets hammy, it gets fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think mostly like the hamminess is mostly just a product of its time. Like you're like, it's 82. What could they have done? Because like the reference material is it's good. It's good source material they're taking from. This is like literal ancient scripts that they're borrowing and translating to film here.
Ancient scripts from the year of 1930.
Oh yes.
Actually, even before that, I think like 26. I think. Because oh fuck, what's his name that wrote Conan? He died at like 28. Shot himself.
Robert Howard. Robert E. Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've ever read the original Conan stories, they're all very fun. Very much a product of their time though. So some things are like, uh-oh.
Oh yeah. I mean, even this film dips just a tad bit into uh-oh. But at the same time, he's a goddamn barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We aren't supposed to really agree with them. We're just supposed to go like, well, you know what? Maybe he isn't warranted. Maybe this journey is good.
So just going through my notes here, the costuming is really stand out, feels good. The armor that a lot of them are wearing is very cool. You can definitely see how Thulsa Doom kind of is an inspiration for a lot of like the Warhammer fantasy Chaos Warrior type armors. God, man, the props are kind of funny because sometimes the weapons are like realistic and good, and sometimes they're like cartoonishly oversized to represent giants' weapons. Yeah, but it's still like a little bit silly. Back to cast here. Sandal Bergman, who plays Valeria, beautiful, strong, competent. She's 6 foot tall and just looks like a normal woman because everyone else in this movie is also like 6 foot tall plus.
Yep.
Like, well written too. Like, she's a wonderful character because she's like all of these things. She's like fearless, she's strong, she's capable, and yet like she still has that feminine aspect. So she still feels like a real human being, you know?
And she's dead as hell.
God, she did.
Nobody
Snaked
asked
to death.
for it. Yep. Bastards.
Did you know that she won not only a Golden Globe but a Saturn Award for her role in this movie?
For her.
For being this character. Yeah, let's just go through the heights real quick. Arnold, 6'2". The guy who plays the High Priest, he's Ben Davidson, Rexor, I guess, Rexor. That dude is 6'8". James Earl Jones, 6'2". Sven Ola Thorson, who plays Thorgrim, 6'3". And then you've got like Mako, who's probably the shortest person in the movie, and he's 5'4". Actually, no, there was a dwarf in the gladiatorial scenes in the beginning, so I guess he's probably not the shortest character.
That montage was so good.
Oh yeah. What is best in life? I love that. And like the world building too, I really enjoy. Stumbling into the tomb and then like the sword as he's like picking it up kind of like dislodges his hand and the crown falls off and he just kind of marvels there like Crom.
Yes. Oh, I love when he just says Crom. You don't know what the hell he means by it, but you're like, yeah, he's feeling Crom right there.
Yeah. Well,
you don't know if he's stoked on it or
king in the ground. That's like literally what he believes Crom is. You know?
Oh yeah, but I'm just like throughout the film, just occasionally, he just rips out a. Oh man, there's 5 dudes down there. Crom. Oh man, I just found a sword. Crom.
His prayer at the end, like, I know you don't care about us, but you'll know that 2 men stood against many, and if you don't care, then fuck
the hell with you. And if you don't answer my prayer, to hell with you. Oh, I could watch top 100 Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes again and again and again.
God. And in Valeria's talk where she's like, I'd even come back from the dead to fight by your side. And then there's that scene that's like, Gling, she like blocks the blow that's gonna kill him. And then he fucking takes the dude out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just such a like satisfying movie.
Dude, it's a complete film. Like, this is what Conan the Barbarian feels to me. Just solid D&D campaign, right? Like, start to finish. This is first party Wizards of the Coast at their best. You're like, hell yeah, we did it, guys. Waterworld is someone's homebrew of they're like, yeah, this is a map I made. It's like half done.
It's inspired by Mad Max, but it's on the open seas.
And we are rolling a campaign in on it. There's nothing you guys can do. Have fun. Also, I wrote a character in. He's an NPC, and he's guiding us the whole way.
My bad guys are really serious guys, okay?
Well, my bad guys are
inbred
inspired.
Cousins, and
my bad guys are like inspired by Batman villains, but they don't really fit in this world. But they're still great, so you're gonna love them. Who doesn't love Batman villains?
It is interesting though that this movie used so many people that like weren't typically actors, like Jerry Lopez and Ben Davidson, who he was actually a football player. He played for Green Bay.
I didn't know that about Ben Davidson.
Yeah,
he does great.
Dude with the huge mustache.
Mm-hmm.
The facial hair in this movie is great. I love freaking Subotsai's.
Oh, I mean, everyone looks just distinct. Like
yeah, again,
everyone,
costuming, yeah.
It's like when a video game just everyone looks different. So you're like, wow, great. I know exactly who everyone is at all times when they're on screen.
And it all looks so good. Like, when you get the close-ups and you can see the chainmail that Arnold is wearing, you're like, damn, that's legit. That's, like, legit stuff right there. It's such a breath of fresh air after watching, like, Rings of Power, where you see the armor and you're like, this looks like plastic 3D printed trash.
Yeah, I don't think your mesher's working right. Whoever's wearing their green t-shirt, tell them to get the crease up.
So let's compare real quick. Like, out of 10, what would you guys give Waterworld?
So, Waterworld, the film. I mean, just the film. The 3-hour... I'm sorry, the 2-hour, 57-minute film. Like 7.4.
Scott, what would you give it?
It's satisfactory as hell.
Yeah, I give it like a 7. Yeah, like a 7.
Yeah, I'd say like a 6.5 for me.
That's fair. Like I don't like it was so attempted to be well done.
Yeah.
Like they wanted it. Everyone I think that did the film wanted it to do well. And like you could see that, but something happened. Something happened and I could see why it flopped. But did it deserve to flop? I don't think so. And is it as bad as it was panned for being? I also don't think so.
Shooting on the open ocean, like how many of them were like seasick while doing scenes?
Dude, who the hell knows?
Because like I could if you told me that Kevin Costner was having the worst time of his life, I would absolutely believe you and be like, oh, okay, his performance is forgivable then. Whereas like
I've heard that this and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves were kind of movies that Kevin Costner took over as an actor, like straight up was overturning some of the director's calls and shit, and like people didn't really like working with him for those two films. I do remember hearing that somewhere and actually listening to that.
That's interesting.
Yes. There was a lot of drama. I mean, understandably, there was a lot of drama making Waterworld, and it was kind of like how Jaws was set up not to succeed, but somehow Jaws made it to the finish line and is one of the greatest films of all time.
Makes me think of like Tombstone, how Tombstone, the director, just like stopped showing up to set, and so not Patrick Swayze, who's the other one?
Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell, like basically took over directing the film and ended up directing like most of the movie. And how like everyone, because he's like an actor, he wasn't like super pushing for director stuff, so he just kind of let everyone do what they wanted to do, and it came out so good. Whereas like this, if Kevin Costner was like giving commands and it just like coming up short, just sounds funny to me. Here's a question.
I enjoyed it.
Out of 10, Conan, what would you guys do?
I mean, I think anything less than I would give it an 8. I would give it an 8.2 because it came out in 1982. I think anything under an 8, it's kind of like, I think it's just too well done of a movie not to give it its flowers and give it an 8.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit better than that. Like, I enjoyed it when I watched it as, I think I was like 13, 14. Straight up shaped like a pillar of masculinity in me. Like that is it's certainly one side of masculinity, the strong absolute brick shit house who fights off demons and gets the girl. Like that is a pillar of masculinity.
Yeah, I mean,
and Conan does it in spades.
Hacking the snake's head off in 2 chops was
oh my god, awesome. Dude. And like he really isn't, like Conan isn't a character that is very flawed. Like Indiana Jones, scared of snakes. Like I love Indiana Jones, one of my favorite heroes of all time, but scared of snakes.
Yeah, he's not particularly flawed, but he's also like not indestructible. Like he gets the shit beat out of him.
Oh, he's motherfucker's still trying to figure out the riddle of steel. I love it every time, dude. He's just sitting there, blood on his face, the riddle. of steel. And I'm like, shut up, Arnold. Go to bed. You are knocked out, boy. Like,
Let him hang on the tree of woe.
It is
I'll
just
give
such a
it-
solid film. It's very well done.
I'll give it a 7.7.
Obnoxious. What'd you give Waterworld? A 7
A
solid?
7. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a 7.
All right.
I'd say Conan's like a solid 8.5 for me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and it wouldn't be ridiculous. So if someone said Conan the Barbarian is in my top 10, maybe even top 5, I would accept. If Waterworld's anywhere in that talk, I go like, really? Did you watch it? Did you watch it with Mom before she
I
passed
have
away?
to really dig out why.
Yeah, is there nostalgia in this or?
Like, here's the thing about Conan is, unlike Waterworld, I can't immediately think of a way to improve it. Apart from just being like, let's just make all the weapons as realistic as possible. Like, it's all technical stuff like that, where it's like...
Maybe AI facelift would be good for Conan.
AI detail work on the weapons.
Jesus. At first it was deep fakes, now this.
And it's also like, I don't think there is a good improvement to the story because it all comes around so well, it all ties up so well.
When you borrow from good material, good shit happens.
Yeah. Now, here's a question. Have either of you watched Conan the Destroyer?
Suppose nothing hurts you,
Nope.
only pain.
I mean,
Well-
I hadn't even seen Conan the Barbarian.
I'm just going to preempt. Well, I'm not watching Conan the Destroyer again.
Coward.
It came out after this. They tried to make like a kid-friendly Conan the Barbarian movie, and it's just dog shit.
Dude, it's amazing.
It's like a 4 out of 10.
Yikes.
It's kind of what became of like sequels in the 80s. I don't want to say that's what started it, but I mean that was definitely par for the course for the next decade. Was just good concept and then really shitty sequel afterwards.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like where we're at now with everything.
More so, everything gets greenlit for a universe that maybe shouldn't have one. Like that's how exponential it's gotten. Where back in the day it was, wow, the first one did great, you need to make a second one. It's like, wow, your first one was good, and you left just enough open doors that we told you to leave that we can go out of any of those doors and make whatever we want with it. Thank you. Thank you for your neat little shower idea that we turned into a movie and is now part of a larger universe.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Conan kind of created this atmosphere where everyone started making these like big strongman exploitation films. So you can find on like Amazon Prime probably like 100 different movies that are all vaguely Conan based, but they just don't have that like artistic heart to it. And so they're all just like, yeah, let's show topless women and egregious violence and people will love it. And
chainmail bikini broadsword.
yeah.
Get it, broad.
I would actually say Red Sonja is probably worth a watch. I don't think it's as good as Conan the Barbarian, but it's definitely better than like Conan the Destroyer or Conan 2011. Red Sonja is kind of interesting because Arnold is in it. He's not playing Conan. Sandal Bergman is in it. She's not playing Valeria.
I don't think
But
I've
it
ever
feels
seen
like
Red
it's the
Sonja.
same world.
Oh, this is great. It's got like 5 people from Indiana Jones in it. 3 I got right now.
Yeah, I remember pretty much enjoying it when I watched it originally. 1985 came out 2 years after Conan. It's another character created by Robert E. Howard. It's
Dude,
big,
these-
strong people throwing swords around. So
Dude, these high fantasy comics are sweet. It's like right up there with not comics, but what would you call it? Pulp Fiction. Same thing with like that 1950s like sci-fi aesthetic. They like go hand in hand of just like really when they're done well, they're really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So with that, what are we gonna do for next time?
What are we gonna do for next?
Do we want to do Escape from New York, Escape from LA?
Whoa.
Oh, I'd love to.
Absolutely.
I've been itching to watch them. So.
Oh man, what? So this is. I will quite literally say, Escape from New York and Escape from LA. I mean, it is almost Barbie into Oppenheimer, or rather, if you do it that way, Oppenheimer into Barbie. I mean, one of them takes itself way more seriously than the other one. I'm so down.
All right, let's do it.
Are you guys gonna back-to-back them? I might back-to-back them.
I'm gonna back-to-back them.
I'll probably back-to-back them.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so we have to back-to-back them.
All right.
You heard
so
it here
do we
first.
just want to like stick to those two and hope some news comes up?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it'll come up. Yeah, absolutely. And if not, we'll spend the whole 30 minutes Dark Tide updates.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. As always, our music was by
That's
Carl Casey at
That's cool.
White Bat Audio. I've been Andrew. That's been Scott. Also was Tom.
So subscribe to our Patreon. Buy our merch.
Oh, dude, we got to get the new Waterworld shirt out.
Oh yeah.
And it's
be on the lookout for our
Waterworld water bottle, our Waterworld hydro bottle, one of a kind. You
Our
piss in it and you get
Waterworld,
water. You pee in it and you get the same amount of water back.
God. what a
The shirt just says,
stupid
"We can
system.
get you wet." Waterworld.
Cousin, what's that cousin's name?
What a vague shirt that would be. Imagine just like a navy blue shirt, white text. What's that cousin's name? Like everyone would think you're from Alabama. I didn't say redacted. I didn't say nothing.
I'd like to apologize to the state of Alabama on behalf
I
of
said
Tom.
Alabama.
Well, with that,
What else?
Roll
Do we have
Tide.
other things? I don't know. If you want to email us a question or a concern or chide Tom for his crass talk about the state
There
of
is no
Alabama,
Kathy in HR.
you can email us
send
at
your complaints to
cryptidworks. Fuck, is it cryptidworksofficial?
cryptidworksofficial@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. cryptidworksofficial@gmail.com.
I cannot be contained.
cryptidworksofficial@gmail.com.
Also, is this the start of John Carpenter era or what?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
this is the start
let's
of
do it.
John Carpenter era. So if you want to know what we're going to be doing for the next couple weeks, next week looks like we have Escape from New York and Escape from LA on the docket, and after that we'll probably leap into, I think, The Thing and They Live.
Oh, that's a nice double banger.
Yeah.
I can dig that for sure. But oh man, do we want to be on brand and save that for October? No, because October you have to do Halloween.
October we'll probably watch through every Halloween movie.
Oh, that's great. Yes, every Halloween, just because John Carpenter got a check for everyone.
Or maybe we'll just not watch any of the Halloweens and we'll watch the
It's-
hit mid-2000s movie House of Wax. Watch Paris Hilton die.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Yeah. Good night. I love you.
We love you.
Love you, John Boy.
I love you more though.
Alright.
You're my favorite boy. If you're still listening to this.
Yeah, honestly, this is the speakeasy of the bad pipes.
If you made it this far, you're chilling with the boys.
This is like the credit scene where you're hanging out with us,
Crack a cold one and chill with the boys.
getting toasty.
And guess what? We don't even mind if it's Bud Light.
You know, I don't mind Bud Light.
Maybe
It's the people's.
Maybe, fuck, what's his name that we were talking about earlier?
Post Malone.
Maybe Post Malone can learn something from us.
Yeah. Oh man, what if Post Malone was a fan? I'd be so happy.
That'd be wild. Someone send a link to him.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I loved Sunflower. Do you remember
Okay.
Spider-Man?
Bye-bye, and remember...
Eat your vegetables.